You're listening to Season 2 of Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants, a production of Virtual Arts.
I'm Larry, 10 o'clock in the morning.
That's 10 o'clock in the morning, Larry. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Christy. Welcome back to Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants. This week we are sans our fabulous third host, Gret, but she will be rejoining again next month. Larry, tell us who we've got on this week's episode.
Thank you. He's indescribable, okay? Because he is a multitude of shocking and amazing performance art, MC, clown, and it did Tony and Tina's wedding for many years, Jesse Highley. And so I am so happy to have him here. Let's bring Jesse on.
Take it away.
Well, today on Dangerous Drag Queens, we have a person, an actor, a clown, someone who I met maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, who I just didn't know what the hell to think of him because he was shocking in his own way. Oh, yes. But extraordinarily talented. Anyway, I would like to bring in the magnificent Jesse Highley to entertain us and speak to us about his fantastic
Hi, Christy. Life. It's a pleasure to wake up at the ass crack of dawn. Okay, is this a family show? Can I say ass?
Well, a family show with the name Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
I was like, look, it's the demographic we're going for, so let's just reach right out and grab them, huh? Good morning. Hi there. Hello. Good evening if you're listening to this at night. Or, vampires. Good blood sucking. I don't know. I moved to Vegas in 2009. Got off tour, came here, and my first show was Tony and Tina's wedding. So I'm 16 years, I guess. I'm not good at math. That's why I became an actor. I started off as Joey Vitale, Tina's gay little brother.
Oh, and you're so butch and straight. It's just amazing to me.
I can be straight. As I'm sitting here in my my Bewitched shirt with all, the straightest of all, Paul Lynde.
I watch every episode I can see of him with all of his quips that he had from
he is fabulous.
The Hollywood Squares. They're so fabulous. Yeah, he is wonderful. So, Jesse, thinking about Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants, and of course you are a deviant, and you're not really a drag queen, but I do think of clowning and a lot of the performances that you do, I think of as drag. And I'd like for you to talk to us a little bit about some of the experiences that you've had.
Me?
And
myself,
what shows you have done recently.
I just wouldn't know where to start. So it all began when I was about 5 years old in my high school. No, that'd be crazy if I was 5 years old in high school. That's an accelerated plan right there. No, I was 5 years old in my kindergarten Christmas pageant. We're taking you all the way back, honey. I was a Christmas tree. My mother made me this costume. No armholes. It was like a green burlap bag. And I had a little face cut out here, and she hot glued garland and like candy canes all over me. I was just in the background. I think I had maybe one line, Jesus is born, because we all know that the manger was full of beautifully, fabulously decorated Christmas trees. I was there back in early 1980s, yeah. And from that point on, I was like, I am doomed for a life on the stage. But from that point, the next memory I had was going to the circus. My parents took me to Ringling Brothers Circus about the same time, kindergarten, first grade, and I walked into that arena, and there was just something between the lights, the colors, the elephant poop, the smell of popcorn. As we say in the business, I got sawdust in my blood right from the get-go. I looked at the clowns, and I thought, that's a magical being right there, between the makeup, the colorful wigs, the movement style, them in the scope of the greatest show on earth. I was sold. I said, that's what I'm going to do. And enough, I had 2 dream jobs at that age. 1, professional circus clown. 2, oddly enough, a school bus driver. I don't know why. I was hypnotized by the way that door opened. It was just, I loved it, and I could see myself retiring doing it. Who knows? I still may retire doing that. So from that point on, I taught myself to juggle, stilt walk, tumble, unicycle, and I went into high school, studied theater there, college after that, majored in theater, minored in vocal music performance, and then my career plan was to go right into clown college. But my mother said, no, you got to go and get what she called a real degree before I went to clown college. And so I did that. And upon graduating, I found that the clown college had since closed with Ringling Brothers. So
Oh.
I know my hopes and dreams of becoming a professional clown were dashed right from the start. So I chose the next best thing, Walt Disney World. So I became one of the many queens to enter the kingdom that was Walt Disney World. And so, yeah, out of college, I became Prince Charming. You name it, I was that prince. I was stuck in the world of ingenue.
Yeah, and it must have been an amazing
So
world of
was.
people
Like, you
down
want to
there
talk
at that
about
time.
diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, and this was before all that hit the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
It really was. You know, I had a small town boy from Missouri, Peculiar, Missouri, if anybody's out there watching and listening from Peculiar. I'd been one family vacation in my life, and that was to Branson. But I'd never been out of the state of Missouri. And so here I am now in Orlando, Florida, and friends of all different backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures. It was just amazing. It was amazing. And I'd only been there for about 8 months, and then they said, we're going to take you to Tokyo and have you do Prince Charming over in Tokyo Disneyland, which was crazy, but amazing.
My dream is to go there. It's one of my highest bucket lists.
I always used to say, if Walt was still alive, Tokyo Disneyland would be his dream park. No expense spared. It is that magical.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Jesse, a question for you. What is the difference between the two? Is it
Oh my
just
gosh,
the
everything,
people
the
who come, or is
technology,
it
the rides. You've got to see some
the
of these
food?
videos, Larry.
Well, first of all, it's not owned by Walt Disney World. It's owned by the Oriental Land Company. They have tons and tons and tons of money. They have so much money that they filled in land into the Pacific Ocean, and they created what is now Disneyland. They knew that it was going to be huge, and they were going to shoot for the stars, and they did. So yes, it sells out to capacity every single day. The Japanese love it. But it is, like Christy was saying, it is the ultimate park. Main Street is covered, so if there's rain, you can go under there. The rides are great. The theming is amazing. And the pay wasn't bad either, I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I came back and did a couple more years at Disney. And then I decided I'm ready to get out of the kingdom. I wanted to make my childhood dream come true. So I knew that Ringling Brothers had their facilities, what I thought was in like Sarasota. So I called this random number up that I got off of a Google search. And I said, how do you hire your clowns? And they said, well, now the clown college is closed. You just got to send us a videotape. And this was back in the day where you had the camcorder and you filmed yourself and then you put it on a VHS and then you put the VHS in a package and sent it out. 2 weeks later, I got a call with a contract offer to join Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. Ringling Brothers has two different units, a red unit and a blue unit, and they both crisscross the country at different times, assuring that no city sees the same show twice. So they told me, oh, no, we're going to put you on the red show, which was currently in Rosemont, Illinois, doing a stint in like the Chicago area around Thanksgiving, Christmas. Very cold crash course into circus living. We all lived and traveled on the circus train back then. 5 feet by 8 feet was my room for 3 years. It was a closet, but it was a cozy closet. And that was the start of a 3-year career with Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus as a professional circus clown. It was my childhood dream come true.
Wow. Was it weekly stop?
No, we did 1 week stints. The first year of the tour, we would hit like the major markets, Madison Square Garden, what used to be known as the Staples Center in LA, the big cities. And then the second year of the tour, we called the rodeo route, and we worked Waco, Texas. We worked small town Topeka, Kansas, the smaller venues. Once we got to that second year, we would do what we called split weeks. and we would load in, do maybe 2 shows, load out, head to the next city. Those were tough. That was tough because a show of that magnitude is gigantic. And back then we traveled with, 15 elephants and 25 horses and zebras and you name it. It's a different show nowadays. But back then, it was a huge endeavor to load that show in and out and to travel it. So we were very grateful to be on that first year where you got to sit for, a week or 2 in a city, which was very nice. Yeah. Oh, and all of that was done. This is what I tell people about showbiz. And I think drag is often a lot like this. You don't do that for the money. This was 2003. When I first joined the circus, I was working the hardest I've ever worked in my career. For after taxes, my take home $224 a week.
Oh my gosh!
To be on the greatest show on earth, Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. And then when I left in 2006, I was making a whopping $274 a week. You are there for passion, for the love of the art. I'm so glad I figured that out that early in my career as well. I think the reason why we've all succeeded in this business is because we've had a love of the art, a passion for what we do, for creative abilities and skill sets. It was a very amazing show of love and acceptance when you'd go into a town and you'd have somebody open up their home or offer up food, bring it to the arena, or take you to a restaurant. Because sadly, in this society, day and time, the image of the clown, specifically here in the U.S., has been taken and put through the ringer. A lot of people blame Hollywood for that. Movies like, Poltergeist and It, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, they've tended to move into taking the image of the clown and putting it into horrific images. But then you have people that didn't help us along much with John Wayne Gacy. And of course, then it leaves its bruise on the art form, which is not the case if you go over to Europe. It's still a very exalted, highly looked upon, prestigious art form. But here, it's kind of taken on either horrific on that side, or you get grouped into birthday clowns, which is, hey kids, that's not us at all. Professional theatrical clowns, Bill Irwin,
right.
David Shiner, myself. We prided ourselves on really kind of leading with our true personality, who we were. They didn't want us to use clown names on Ringling, so there was no Blippo or Happy the Clown. It was Jesse. Because by introducing yourself as Jesse, a child would go, oh, my uncle's named Jesse, or I have a brother named Jesse, or my name's Jesse. I can instantly relate to you. So we presented ourselves as an exaggeration of who we are on an everyday. I think, sadly, to this day, we still fight those things. And to mirror drag, a lot of my drag queen friends, they don't pick some character out of the blue and say, this is what I'm going to do. We didn't do that as clowns either. They take who they are on a day-to-day basis and amplify that. And you hear a lot of drag queens say that the persona of drag helped them to release their innermost honest self. And in many ways, clowning is the same way. But much like clowning, drag has been, especially in the later years, thanks to political agendas and whatnot, they're fighting the same fight.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, it has moved so much into the mainstream with RuPaul and with so many things. I mean, I don't think that anybody thinks too much about it, but I do believe though that the drag queen of today in RuPaul's amazing world is they're much more clowns. They're much more performance artists.
It is. You take a look at Bianca Del Rio, for example. She was a very early in the RuPaul franchise winner, and she has since worn the title of I am a clown. She is a true clown. She was like, I wear enough makeup. I conduct myself as such. You can put drag on me if you want, but at the end of the day, I'm a clown. Trixie Mattel has also labeled herself. I mean, look at those eyes. Those are, she puts more white around her eyes than a lot of clowns I know. Yeah, they realize what it is that they're doing. They see the crossover and they embrace it and use it as an amplifier of their drag. A lot of drag queens say, oh, I'm a looks queen or I'm a comedy queen. But if you think of it, clowning is all of that wrapped up in one. I'm going to give you a look that is iconic. I'm going to be funny, and I'm going to do it so big that it reaches the back row of, any club or theater or arena that I'm performing in. So yeah, I
Yes.
think it's apropos that the two go hand in hand.
Yeah, Jesse, I mean, I was thinking that stop in New York and go and see Oh Mary, because to me, what Cole Escala does and what that whole
Oh
group
yeah,
does in that
yeah,
play
you're
is they're
absolutely right.
clown.
I look at clowns as larger than life. I don't necessarily need you to have the red nose, the floppy shoes, the grease paint. My comedy idol is Carol Burnett, and I think that she is one of
Right.
the greatest living clowns that
Yeah.
has ever graced our generation. Ed Wynn, Paul Lynde, Bert Lahr, going back
Mm.
into the days of vaudeville. They were clowns in every sense of the word. They paved the way so that I could do what I do now. And Cola Scola, taking a show
Hmm.
like Oh Mary and having the success. If you see that show,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of bells and whistles to that show. You're not given lavish sets and
No.
big orchestra and huge dance numbers. He holds that audience with characterization alone. You could
Yeah.
sit and watch that character of Mary Todd Lincoln for hours on end.
It's the Broadway show that I feel the audience laughed more at than
Absolutely.
any other show I've ever seen in my life.
That's what connected me to Carol. My first introduction to Carol Burnett was Annie and her portrayal of Miss Hannigan. And I was amazed at how she could evoke a laugh from her audience with a look. Just a look, or just a, bathroom. She just knew it. You look at the stuff that, for that matter, anybody on the Carol Burnett show, Tim Conway, Harvey Korman, what they were doing was a weekly clown show, creating these characters and drag at that. You look at Eunice from Mama's Family. I mean, I don't know how many drag queens I've seen take on that kind of a personality, but
Yeah.
that's what I love about it so much. And the few times that I have stepped into drag, I thank God that I chose clowning over drag, only because the shoes are so much more comfortable. Can't walk those heels. I think one of your former guests was Jamie Morris. We did Tony and Tina's wedding together, but he writes comedic parody drag of the old sitcoms and those films that we loved so much. One of my first shows I ever did with him was The Facts of Life, the lost episode, for which I played Blair Warner. That was my first introduction to a Stone Bruise, and my first introduction to Tuck Your Bits and Girdle and Suck It In, and oh Lord, those queens are not paid enough.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, your career has just continued and grown,
Yeah, well, I mean,
Jesse.
Tony and Tina's wedding did me very well. I flowed in and out of that show for 8 years. Did a total combination of 4 different characters in the show. I mean, it was all that I could want in variety. Am I blowing up enough smoke there, Larry? That was the best show on earth.
Yes. It's the place for improv people. I thought you were talking about somebody
No,
else.
it floated me for a
Um,
good 8 years here. But in that time, I went and did cruise ships. I'd never done cruise ships, so I became a singing comedic actor on ships. Saw the world, got paid for it. That was great. Came back, stepped back into Tony and Tina's. I left Tony and Tina's wedding for a very fun show that's still running today called Zombie Burlesque. I had a lot of fun. That was pure musical theater. That was me stepping back into, song and dance, quick changes, element of improv, but just another over the top fun character playing a dead zombie every night. After a few years of doing that show, this is how life just slings you things that you're going, really? This was in store for me? I never would have known. I got an audition notice that Channing Tatum was coming to Las Vegas with a brand new show called Magic Mike Live. Well, I, needless to say, did not submit for Magic Mike Live, knowing that just a few years earlier I was pushing my tits together and jiggling my fat in Tony and Tina's wedding. But I eventually saw another individual casting call. They were looking for a male comic, somebody to host the show, somebody who was good with improv, and somebody who was not muscular. And I went, That's me. So I submitted and did not hear anything for about 4 months. And I was like, guess I didn't get that. And then lo and behold, out of the blue, I get a call from a casting agency out of New York. And they said, hey, we're so sorry it's been so long. Are you still interested and available? It took Channing Tatum that long to watch your video, and he's casting the entire show himself. And I went,
Oh my gosh.
Channing, Chan. Yeah, Chan, take all the time you need. But he had watched my submission and cast me in the show. I had always been known up to that point of playing characters that were lovable, that were fun, sweet, endearing. This character was nothing like any of those. He was the grossest of gross. He was tactless. He was womanizing. He was a douchebag in every sense of the word. So as an actor, it was a great opportunity to show range, as they say in the biz. I played that character for about 5 years. We opened the show at Hard Rock, and then Hard Rock closed to become Virgin. And then we were taking the show and remounting it at the Sahara. We closed the show right before COVID, and he wanted to retain his cast so badly. He paid for our health insurance, all full benefits, the entire time in COVID.
That's amazing.
He really took care of us. So it made us want to go back to the show when we opened, once things started rolling again. And it was great. But after 5 years, it was time to go. I wanted to explore other opportunities. And that's when I got another random call. And it was Cirque du Soleil calling. And they said, hey, crazy question. Can you spit water? I'm like, what? Can I spit water? I had a professor in college that said, if you ever want to continue working continuously as an actor, fill your bag of tricks with as many as you can. I knew how to do it thanks to my comedy water spitting class at Ringling. We all learned how to comedically spit water. And so I told them yes. I was offered a full-time contract with America's Got Talent, present Superstars Live here in Las Vegas as a member of the Human Fountains comedy water spitting act. And it was great because we were able to go on to the live television show and perform there. So little did I know that the next 4 years of my life, I would be spitting water. Look, go to YouTube and stick in Human Fountains.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to. I have had some contact with people at the Hard Rock lately, and I see that there's a drag brunch there. Are they doing well there?
Drag brunch as a whole does very, very well. It doesn't draw the demographic you would think. Here, it draws the Midwestern tourists that go, oh, I love that RuPaul's Drag Race. The open-minded folks from St. Louis, Missouri, Des Moines, Iowa, they come in, oh, I love RuPaul's Drag Race, but, I don't go to the gay bar in Des Moines, or I don't know in Waco where I can go and see a drag queen. They come to Vegas. I think we have 2, maybe 3 drag brunches here. To them, it's like buying another show on the Strip. Cirque du Soleil, David Copperfield. They want to see the art of drag. They want to eat while they do it. And they do very well for themselves. A lot of my friends, Alexis Mateo being one, hosts a drag brunch at Gypsy, and then she stays in drag all day long until she hosts her show at Piranha, or wherever she's hosting that night.
So in Las Vegas, you have that one there at the Hard Rock.
But the one that I just went to at Rocco's in West Hollywood, I thought, oh, this is West Hollywood. I'm going to be there with just a whole gay audience of men. No. I was one of only 3 gay men at this drag brunch. The rest were women and straight couples.
Yeah.
And
oh, that's funny.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that so much because they were accepting the art form. They maybe weren't the type to go to a gay bar at midnight or 1 a.m. to see a drag, but because of drag brunch, and because these drag queens are, up and willing to slap that shit on at 8 a.m. and do day drag, that they're able to see this, appreciate it for what it is. They all had dollar bills. They were all tipping. We call theater etiquette. They had their drag etiquette right where it needed to be. And it warmed my heart. I loved that it wasn't an audience full of gay men.
It's that middle class that really loves it and enjoys it in the same way that, they love clowning.
Drag used to be hidden in gay bars, in fear that they would come in and raid the place, or you'd get, beat up. And so it was like very taboo. But again, thanks to RuPaul, essentially saying, look, making it mainstream and squashing a lot of people's fears and misconceptions of drag, it has blown through the roof. Now we have drag brunch, cruise ships, Virgin Voyages. They call her the diva, and she gets into drag first thing in the morning. A good friend of mine was one of the divas on board, and she said it was tough, but she stays in drag all day long. She walks around the ship in drag all day long. Bingo.
Yeah. I've been on Virgin a couple times, and that character's incredible. Yeah. It's so awesome to have it there.
People love having a drag queen.
Yes, they do. That drag brunch sells out like that.
Yeah,
yeah, it really does.
She calls bingo.
I know, bingo and drag. I mean, these are I have to say, we have to go. Christy,
I know, this conversation could go on forever.
But I could talk to you forever. You are so wonderful.
I know, I couldn't even get a word in, but everything you were saying was yes, keep going.
Do you think that Jesse would be somebody who you'd ask what is his favorite makeup?
Curious though, going back to the circus train, because I imagine your makeup setup was similar to a drag makeup setup. Like, how much percentage-wise of your room did that take up?
Well, we didn't get ready in our train room. We got ready in what we called Clown Alley, which was in the arena. But I think maybe clowns have it a little better from what I've heard than drag queens. I hear a lot of drag queens talk when they get booked into a bar or a club. They get stuck into the broom closet or, a
sure, yeah.
Okay, you can get ready here. We traveled with old-time steamer trunks, and that became our dressing room. And so we would put our makeup, our costume, our wig, our shoes, everything into this old-time steamer trunk.
But thankfully that didn't have to live in your room with you, because I probably would have taken up half the room.
Over half of my room, that steamer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so that was our dressing room.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not glamorous by any means, but it served the purpose. It was great fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, it's a pleasure to always talk to you, and I'm just so proud of how you've taken what you do and moved into so many other jobs.
And thank you for having me. I love you guys.
Appreciate it so much, Jesse. Thank you.
Take care. It's funny, Jesse and I have so much in common in our career, bizarrely, but the way his career has kind of taken all these paths has been similar to my experience, because I worked at Disney World, I worked on a cruise ship, I worked on tour, so I was all of those were very relatable to me, at least. What a fascinating life, though.
Oh, Jesse absolutely has a fascinating. I think that what he brings to everything that he does is heart. He's just wonderful, and it's always such a pleasure to have a clown like that instead of the clowns that we have in other parts of our society today.
What do you mean? Every day. I don't even want to talk about current events anymore.
Anyway, good to see you.
See you next time, and we'll have Gret back with us.
Lots of love to Jesse Highley. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants. To find out more, follow and like us on all our socials. And if you like what you hear, please be sure to share with a friend. That's all for now. Keep living dangerously and on your own terms.